Welcome to the space between us. I'm your host, Christine Young, psychologist and founder of Weaver. This is a podcast about your social health and connections and what happens to them when you are building something that demands everything. If you are leading, founding, or building something ambitious and wondering how others stay connected to those they love and care, this is for you. Every episode, I speak with leaders and founders who share what it really cost them and what they learned along the way while building big things. Not your usual expert advice podcast, just truth. This is the space between us. Let's meet there. Welcome back to this week's episode. We have Sullivan with us. She's a co-founder of Even, the digital career development platform for women. Ellen's created award-winning global academies, innovation labs, platform and leadership programs, advising clients such as Google, Department of Defense, ANZ Bank, and CSIRO. In this episode, Ellen shared her story, her conviction about fairness, getting even, has been with her since childhood. She talks about flipping traditional gender roles with her partner, building a family operating system, and what she called wobbly health taught her about vulnerability and trust. We discuss what it actually costs to build something big, how to trust the right people, how to build trust, and why friendship through vulnerability and messiness matters. Ellen also opens up about her co-founder relationship with Noah, the practical skills that hold relationships together when you are running a business and raising a family. This is a conversation about ambition, relationships, and what it means to show up authentically. Enjoy. Welcome back, everyone. Today we have Ellen, is a co-founder from Even. Ellen, it is so great to have you here.
Thank you, Christine. I'm delighted to join the podcast today.
So I think this is a very good place to start, is asking you about Even. It's a mission. There is a strong purpose behind. And I love the tagline, getting even, right? It's a very strong message and I love it, simple, but it's hard to achieve. Where did that ambition come from? What happened? Is there a moment in your career or in your personal relationship you realize, damn it, like, I don't want to just talk about it or believe in it. I want to build something around it and make it happen.
I mean, so the thing of the value, the reason of being even, like that's always been with me since I was a kid. That was always the thing I used to get into arguments about with people. It's not fair. It's not even. It's something that's kind of come through for me at every stage of kind of my life. And then when Nora and I were discussing what we wanted to do, the name actually came last. So we were trying to work out, well, what's the problem we want to solve? And the problem we wanted to solve and that concept of even being fair was very important for us as mid-career women, right? And we had both had 2 children and we had some real good war stories in regards to what had happened in our life and what had happened in our career. And because we're also experts in leadership development and we worked with so many leaders, we're just like, this is just what why is this happening? Like, why are women not able to have these very fulfilled leadership careers, these very fulfilled lives? Why isn't that possible? Considering also that they're so incredible. They've got all these degrees. They work so hard. They're doing all this. Why isn't there something out there to really support them in their ambition? And so then the concept of even also came about because it never feels good when you say to someone, well, you're not doing good enough for this group of people. I think people get put off, but at the same time, everyone actually does want that fairness within their society. There's actually a majority of people want that. And so how do you convey your ambition that you want things to be even, that you want things to be fair without making people feel bad? And so I was quite inspired by this wonderful feminist who she just used to wear purple all the time. Douglas Bender, I believe, is her name. And she has this great quote about getting even. I said to Nora, how don't we call it get even? And Nora was like, how about we just go for even, full stop? And that was how we kind of were like, okay, this is, and it embodies everything I value, right? It's one of my key values even. And so to be able to live that purpose and do that for the people I want to impact the most, which is women, it's incredibly fulfilling and has kind of, honestly, it's completely transformed how I look at myself, my career, how I look at who I'm connected with. Just having that really clear purpose helps me in every aspect of my life.
How does that help you? How does that transform when you see now relationships?
In relationships? I mean, if I think about my marriage to my partner, Rob, so we flipped for 7 years the traditional gender stereotypes. And so I was working full time. I was pregnant twice and I had 2 children, but then he was the primary carer.
Yeah.
For them when they were young. And so we completely flipped those roles. And that was very important for me. And I was looking for my partner, like, would there be someone out there willing to consider that kind of setup?
That question is like before you meet him, that's in your conscious mind. Like, I need to meet someone that will become a primary carer if we have children. That's wonderful.
I honestly, I did think, am I going to meet that person?
Yeah.
Because that's a pretty high bar. Yeah. And I loved it that it was meeting my need of kind of being even. At the same time, it felt like I was breaking the rules. Like that was also good about it. It's kind of, is there someone out there who's willing to break the rules and do this a completely different way and do it a way that works for us? We've actually now switched roles, or maybe it's a more even. We both work now. So now I'm the primary contact for school. And so I've had to learn how to do that role. And then he's also had to learn, because he has a very demanding job that he is in, that really takes his time up. He's had to work out, well, how do I find the value in the time that I do have with my family as well. And so we've gone through a different journey since I launched Even with Nora.
It's like a team, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you become more career front and someone stay back at home while juggling this dance between work and home. And sometimes the other person needs to step up like a bit more leading in the career, and one need to, do the school pickup and all this housework a bit more. So it's equity we are talking about. It never 50-50, right?
Yeah.
It is this feeling of just, you said, even.
Yeah.
It's a very subjective view of this relationship is really fair because we're discussing, we agree on things together. So what do you think is the core qualities that allow this kind of marriage or partnership happen, do you think? What is the most important things that you and Rob do to maintain that strong teamwork?
Like, first of all, I'm never going to say it's perfect. It's a constant discussion.
I love all the guests in my podcast say, this is not perfect. Disclaimer. No one is perfect. Yeah. So
we're trying to work out what works for us, what's important for us. And so, I mean, look, one of the key things that I love to share with everyone is there is a system called fair play from this wonderful, clever woman called Eve Rodsky. And it's a system of cards that basically detail all those, basically the business of running a family. Right. And I actually resisted the cards for a long time because I thought it infantilized a little bit. This complex concept. And fortunately, it actually works incredibly well because there's no unsaids in regards to the business of running a family. So it's about your mental load. It thinks about actually all the stuff that might need to be done before you get to the execution of tasks, and then it also considers the execution of the task. And it's also given Rob and I the structure to have the conversation around what do we need to do and what feels fair for us at this time.
We definitely need to share this in the show notes to everyone.
It's a fantastic tool. And so you go through kind of like, okay, so who's doing the kids' lunches? Who's doing weekend dinners? Who's doing weekday dinners? Who is thinking about medical appointments? Who is thinking about the car? Who's going to do the gardening? All these things that just happen in our lives. And we have to go through those. We kind of do it every 6 months to see if it's working. And some of the cards we just throw away because they're not part of what we need to do as a family. And so that means I think about my jobs and he thinks about his jobs. And the discussion is more, if we need to have a discussion, it's more around actually can share more about this as, my health is not so good right now. Could you take this card and this card for me? Means that we're not having a constant discussion around who's doing what. If we both do our jobs, we really can just kind of ease into kind of finding time with each other as a family.
Yeah, that sounds like a magical tool that gives you the language and also a system.
Yeah.
Right. And how long have you been running this method?
We've been doing it for about a year now, I would say.
Yeah.
So it definitely came up because I'd come across it in my work with Even, but it came up for us because both Rob and I were learning these new roles. So it was pretty much at the time that I started Even that he started his new career and I started my new career. And so that got pretty complex within everything we had going on. So we needed to have something that really helped us to structure it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you find it a year later?
It works. It does work really well.
Yeah.
We find things slip every now and again, and then we just have to have the conversation again to see who's taking what. And it helps us. It's kind of like, gosh, it does feel a little bit sterile to describe it this way, but you know how at work you have the job description and you know what good looks like? Well, it's kind of like that. You have that clarity and there isn't that build up of resentment because we're just really clear on what each of us should be doing. And honestly, I actually think it's made time for more silliness in our family. It's made time for just hanging out with the kids more because we're able to match that time up better because we know what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that's so critical because to run a household is a lot of mundane, a lot of logistic matters. And there are a lot of habits come through as a couple. Like if we don't talk about it or become conscious about how we do things, it's prone to argument.
Yeah.
Like, how you put dishes in the dishwasher can trigger an argument. Like how you tie up the rubbish bin in the bag. I work with a lot of couples and a lot of argument is not about big traumatic experience. It starts from like, why didn't you show up to cook when I'm sick? Why? Like it's all those very basic, but when two individuals start living together, it's almost so much subconscious. We don't talk about it and we don't give language, or if we don't give a clear job description, it's so easy that become the source of argument.
You just kind of detracts from like the reason you're with them in the first place.
Yeah. Yes.
And running a real business or running a business or family, it's not going to be easy.
No,
so you might as well put structures in place that actually, or systems as well. Big fan of any kind of system, put them in place to help you stay connected, right? Do the thing that you want to do the most with the people you love the most.
Absolutely. And it sounds like this is a really great system that you have. And with building Even and your ambition, did you come across a time where you feel like this is really challenging to my health and to my relationships? Are there any moment where, oh my God, why did I do that? You question it. Did you come across those moments?
Both Nora and I, and we are very focused on what we want.
I love it.
And what we want is a business of our own that is serving women. And so I've never had a question around Even if it would be more around, are we solving the right problem? Are we offering the right things? Are we meeting people where they want to be met? Like that is more kind of been the challenge of our journey in Even. In creating a new business, that's clearly going to take a lot of mental energy and a lot of time. And you're going on this big learning journey. I run my own business before. And also, doing it with Nora, who I knew very well, but a co-founder relationship is
it's like a marriage.
It's very unique. Yeah. Like fantastic, but you're experiencing all those highs and all those lows together. And you've got to create that relationship. But then, like I've already said, Rob and I were then taking on new roles within our relationship. And then I also had what I would describe as like wobbly health. And so that was asking a lot of all my important relationships because, well, where do I give the best of me when maybe the best of me can be quite unpredictable at times? And so I've had to experiment with how I perform at work. I've had to experiment with how I create those really valuable moments with the people I love, even when there's almost nothing in the tank. Then I've also had to experiment with, well, how do I meet new people? So I'm talking about outside of even as well, because even I connect with a lot of people, but how do I find those social relationships when energy is kind of at an all-time low? So I have to find the right places and the right moments to connect with people in the most high value way for me and for them.
This is great because you were talking about as you having ambition to create even. What I'm hearing is you are more strategic and protective of your energy on who to give, how to give, when to give.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing. And you almost being very conscious of design a life that have the right people and considerate enough. I know I'm going to have empty tank, but how can I still give to these people and without burning yourself? Not many people do that consciously. And that's pretty much the work of Weaver.
Yeah.
That's the work that I'm passionate about, advocating about, is particularly for ambition professionals. The more you wanted to create huge unscalable impact, the more you need to plan your social health and well-being. Who you see when to see, who to put around you, who to trust, and the discernment of it is the next level skill, I reckon. And in this journey of creating even, have you trusted the wrong people? And on reflection of that experience, what would you do differently next time that it's like, okay, now I learned my lesson?
Have I trusted the wrong people? I don't think so. So like within even, we have not had a bad experience like that.
Yeah. Great.
That might be luck. I also think it might be the dynamic of having two co-founders.
Yeah.
In that if someone sees something and then the other's like, oh, wait a sec, just like we've got that kind of that view of it. I think, to be honest, more with even, I have just been like overwhelmed with how good people are. Like, honestly, that has been, so the breadth of who I connect with now compared to when I was a leader at Melbourne Business School. And you would think business school, right? You can get to any organization, any leader, but really it's much easier to connect around what even is doing. It's very clear, and so many people care about that, men and women, and they're always looking to help. Now, help could be connecting us with someone. Help could be just sharing about us on LinkedIn. Help could be providing their insight, providing their story. Yeah, it really is a good news story. And then I think about all the women that I get to chat with. These are women that are kind of, they're running like the tunnels of Australia, or they're underground, or they're running the water systems, and they're just doing these incredible things. And talking to them about their ambition, their leadership, what they want in their life. Honestly, it is a very good story of connection and who we've connected with. If you had to put me on the spot, it would be early on, we were just exploring who might be partners for us to help bring our tech dreams to life. And we just had a lot of, unfortunately, tech bro conversations with people who assumed we were starting from zero in what we knew. And those conversations didn't go.
You and Nora are not the amateur in innovation at all.
It was like, wow, okay. So just because we're starting a new journey, you think we know nothing. Interesting. All right, we'll not continue that conversation. But it doesn't feel like the trust has been.
Now I flip the question around. What do you think that trust look like?
Yeah, it depends on the type of relationship. It's always important to connect with the human first.
The human, yeah.
Connect with their story first. I've seen some great examples recently where people actually tell you their story as a way to start. I've had other people go to me, so what's your story, Ellen? That's the way that they start. That's a good question. And so it's starting with, if the scenario and it's appropriate, connecting with them as who they are and finding out what's important to them and sharing also what's important to you. Being upfront about that. So if it is a business relationship, sharing what good would look like to them and sharing what good would look like to you. And then that allows you to have a discussion, not have crossed wires, and allows you to have that check-in throughout that relationship. And I think it allows space for, I'm always trying to find space for more silliness with all my relationships.
Yeah.
More absurdity, because you can know who these people are as
Mm.
humans. Is that where you're going with that?
I think the questions come from a place where a lot of my clients, they do not know what trust look like, particularly when times is like midlife professional, so much happening for midlife. If you are like a millennial like me, like you trying to start a family or you may already have kids, and then, there is a friendship that dropped out, like you outgrow certain friends, and there are friends that move to other countries and that kind of midlife, and we become the carer of our parents, and it's so much pressure. And midlife is the golden age to chase your dream in career or whatever you want to do, but there is so much expectation, and particularly on women, that is like, you should be doing this, you expect to do this, and so much pressure. And I think relationship is so critical in particularly midlife. And because of how we live now, we do not have a village. We're supposed to raise kids together. Like, as in, we look after each other kids, play with them. And if you want to take a break, I'll step in, I'll help you. And now you don't know who to even trust. To do that. I guess my question is coming from, in modern day life, how do you build friendship?
I mean, I've always been someone who likes to and can connect with lots of different people. And I thought I did that in a really authentic way. And I definitely always wanted to know what was going on with them. With the health challenges I've had, I've actually had to sit with the fact that actually I wasn't too comfortable with showing that I was imperfect. I wasn't comfortable showing myself that I wasn't achieving or that I wasn't always active. All those different kind of connotations of what a sociable, likable person is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I've had to really sit with that and go, well, how can I still be a people person when I don't have any energy? And so I've had to basically learn to be imperfect, and not just imperfect in kind of every way, right? So getting out of the house without looking okay. I've had to be imperfect with turning up late. I've had to be imperfect in kind of saying, actually, I can't come today, and telling them why. So long my friends thought I ghosted them because I was not showing up. And I actually say, well, actually, this is what's going on with me. And so it's like sharing my imperfectness and seeing that people are fine with that. That's not an issue. Not you. And then also then the other piece is just being kind of free with kind of the messiness of what's going on. So the messiness of the kid chaos, or the messiness of the house, or the messiness of kind of brain fog. Can't think of the word right now. This is what's happening for me. Do you know what I mean? Like just being upfront and just realizing that actually for me, it hasn't impacted my relationships. And I find it actually can be a great way to connect quite fast with people in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's showing their vulnerability.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's imperfection and vulnerable. And that's the best way to connect people deeply. And people reaction, does that surprise you?
Yeah, I think it has surprised me. I mean, I wonder if it's also to do with, I do connect now, like the percentage of people I connect with is probably 75% women and 25% men. And maybe that has allowed me to be more open, because I do find if I share my messiness with women, they will share theirs. And we can do it in a way that it doesn't demean ourselves, but we just kind of go, yeah, you're there, I'm there, we're good. Let's get done what we need to get done, or just roll with it. Whereas, previously in my previous career, in an academic environment, there was a high standard of how you presented yourself. And also it was within a business context, right? So we're all supposed to be the ideal worker.
Yeah.
And not really show our imperfections. And so maybe moving out of that space, particularly for me, has helped me. Whereas I think others can navigate that space really well, whereas I found it quite difficult.
Yeah. And as you speak, I can relate so much to it, because it's almost like a luxury to be able to start your own business and be flexible in working with people that we love to work with. And I got to work with you and Noah is like one of the the most nourishing working relationship, with two women that care so much about women, right? It's the best collaborator ever. But if the context is under organization, I got a question around how do you be authentic and vulnerable if your environment and knowing the people sitting next to you is only compete with you and is not safe? What would you say to those people?
Say the first step is finding those people that you can trust. There might be only like one or two within your organization. Okay, so then you need to go broader because having those people you can trust and have those conversations with people where they're invested in you, that you're kind of okay, right? If you've got that group of people that you can have those conversations with. I look back at my career and I didn't have enough of that. I had it within the organization and I was focused on the organizational goals. And actually I needed to have that breadth of people that I could trust. And so some of them can be more in a personal context, some in a business context, some in an industry over there, but you've got to have that group of people that you can flex with different ideas, different career scenarios. You can share different complaints with them. And then if you're in an organizational context that, like you said, it's competitive and you can't be yourself, well, what is it that you want within that context? What do you want for your career within that context? Are you looking for that career progression in that context? If so, you don't need to be turning up authentically. You need to be turning up for that career progression. And where are going to be the other spaces that make space for
your full
self.
parts. Yeah.
But it's kind of, obviously organization systems need to make people feel included. They need to be responsible in how they treat you as an employee. They shouldn't be giving you burnout and they shouldn't be creating stress for you. Finding that we call it a personal board of directors. Who's that personal directors for your career? And then that allows you to navigate really any space because you've got a variety of people that are invested in.
Do you think it gets harder and harder to find your personal board of director as you progress through your career?
Relationships must take work. You must focus a good portion of your time on your relationships. And I think as you get more senior, you've actually got to spend more time there because, if you are looking to become more senior, you've got to find that network who probably are going to help you, who've taken that road beforehand. There's not going to be many of them. So it's going to take work to find out who they are. And then you've also got to find the ones that understand who you are and what you want. And so you can't, I hear it a lot where it's like, I haven't got time for relationship development. And unfortunately, you have to have that to be a fulfilled human being. But you also need to have that for a thriving career and very much to progress into leadership roles.
I think that become more and more important as we are in the age of AI. It's more and more obvious if people intelligence is not there. And it's going to be so obvious that you need people in order to be fulfilling, not just successful in your career. In order to have a fulfilling career depends on who are around you. Younger people that I spend time with, I always say it's great that you have high academic, but really train up your empathy and look at how you actually be supportive when your friends need you. How do you show up? And how do you also teach people how they treat you? Because the way you treat yourself is teaching how people treating you as well. It's very interesting. I have clients complain to me saying, I don't know how to connect with this 20-year-old in the workplace. They don't want to be in person. They want to show up just on the screen and I just want to buy them lunch. But how do I get them to even come in person to have a team lunch with me? What do you think? Because you have two beautiful kids. How old are they?
Yeah, they're both at primary school. So one's just started and one's kind of on their way. Yeah. So they're primary school kids. Yeah.
So for younger generation and for next generation, what would you think is the most critical skills that they need to learn and cultivate? Live a healthy and fulfilling life.
The skill we are teaching them that is top priority for me and Rob is how to have relationships. not just because we're talking about it today, but we actually use the word relationships are incredibly important. So, for example, my daughter, her friend had brought her back a gift from holiday and she showed me it. And I said, well, how does that make you feel? And then we had a good discussion around it. Isn't that amazing that your friend thought about you and cared so much about you that they brought a gift back from their and she's got it in pride of place in her bedroom and written her friend a lovely letter. But I think you could easily just go, oh, that's so cute. And then move on from that.
Yeah.
It is very important for us that our kids know how to connect with lots of different people. We have my son, he has vision challenges. And so it's hard for him to see people's emotions if he's not close up. And so for us with him, it's more about having the conversation about how to recognize different emotions and kind of questions he can ask if he's unclear. And so it's a very important skill for us to be teaching our kids. And I think considering, I don't know if AI is going to live up to its promise of activity and more time available to us, but we're as a society, we're constantly going towards how can tech do our jobs, whether it's AI or something else and so we are driven as humans to connect with people. And so how can you kind of do that in so many different ways as you grow up? How can you find your people and how can you do it in a way that works for what you want?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a very important skills moving forward. For me, I can be a bit pessimistic sometimes because I do deal with people relationships a lot, work relationship and personal relationships a lot. And I got to say the rate for AI development, our tech development versus our people intelligence is improportionally, it's so slow in terms of people intelligence. That's why sometimes I'm like, Christine, you have to work faster. You have to go out there, work faster.
With evolution, I realize I'm talking to the expert here, but we do have so many skills built into us from evolution to connect. We have so many, and we just have to remember that we have those.
Exactly. You have no idea, Ellen. I haven't told anyone. I was thinking to write a book and playing with the title. Working title is Remember Us as a Human, something like that. Because you are absolutely right. When you think about all the beautiful child when they were born, they share, play, they share with people. It's so naturally just come out as a human that we share things, we help. And I think we forgot along the way, it's not the human individual fault. It's often system that rewards competition more than sharing, that rewards the type of leadership that I'm strong and hard and don't show vulnerability. That means leadership. We reward that. We praise that. But the system doesn't reward vulnerability. And we forgot about we are only human. We are not perfect. We have limited energy.
Yeah.
And I think we optimize ourselves to the point where we are not, if we use AI to optimize every single aspect of our life, we should have a lot more free time and more mental well-being and psychological well-being. But I don't feel that we are at that stage where we have more silence, we have more creativity, we have more play yet. So I'm hoping we are actually all walking to the direction. What do you think? That would be a great humanity. That would be a kinder humanity.
I think what you said at the start, which is you have to do the work to go. You do have to, I was forced into it. I don't know if I would have done it if I wasn't forced into it through my health. Yeah. So I have to live this way. And the benefits are amazing, but I think you do have to kind of go, well, what am I doing this for? Am I earning a lot of money for my family's security? Okay. Well, if my family feels secure, where am I in that? Or am I doing this because I want my children to be better off than I am? Financially, they could be, but they be better off emotionally if you aren't available to. So there's only upside in doing that slow down and that working out and having those conversations with people. My view, that people can delight you, people do delight you, and you actually find that having these conversations with people that are, when you are a bit more vulnerable, when you do share your vulnerability, I mean, maybe it's with the right people, you actually get a lot back when you put effort into your relationships and also know that it cannot work out. Like you might meet some dickheads along the way. That's okay. Like there's actually like fun and messiness within that. I love messiness. Messiness and absurdity and silliness. That's how with my kids, when I've been learning this new role, we set up a system, me and the kids, that worked for us, like, you know, how we do our routines and everything. Yeah, so now we can be stupid and silly. And then we do. Like, what are the jokes we can find that day? You know, who can put a fart in the most random place? Like, silly
Love
things.
it. I think that's what the beauty of relationship, because AI, people type in questions. If I have a fight with my friend, what should I say, right? You can have a perfect message and send it through, but human to human relationship is through what you said. It's like when there is silence, you don't know what to do and you just pause awkwardly. I'm so sorry, I don't know what to say. We should allow that imperfection more and more. And because of AI, I think we force ourselves to be more perfect and always have answers. And we forgot, actually, I have my inner wisdom to how to give and receive in a relationship, and so much deep work that I need to help people to remember. You have that innate, and a lot of barriers, I think, as we grow up as well. Small T or big T trauma really blocking the way that we connect within ourselves and with people. And I want to finish this podcast by asking you, is there anything that you want to share with us that I haven't asked you?
Yeah, I would say the one piece maybe we haven't talked about is this wonderful relationship that I didn't know I could have with Nora, right? My co-founder. It's a very unique relationship. And we have both said, I don't know how a single founder can do it, because the highs are super high and the lows are super low. And then we're lucky enough that, you know, our kids are also similar age. Similar kind of domestic setups. And so it's been very unique and helpful to have that relationship on a journey. I had no idea how I would get to where I wanted to get. And I think that relationship is also matched around ambition. We want to help every woman, really. That's our ambition in their career, in their leadership, in their lives. And we believe we can do it. Yeah. And so that ambition exists between us both. And however we do that, well, let's just keep heading in that direction. And it's a relationship that constantly has to adapt. We're always looking at it like, well, how do we make this work in this situation? And I just wonder if that's something that's useful when we're thinking about relationships, like how can it be repaired? Or how can I say what I need to say? Or how can we celebrate this to the biggest extent possible? Like, and we're both coming at the relationship in that way.
And what are some of the key skills to maintain that healthy working relationship?
We're very upfront about what's going on in our lives. And so I have to be really upfront around my health. But then because Nora knows, for example, what I want is the same thing as her, we may have different kind of productivity or performance rhythms. At work actually quite late if my energy is really low in the morning, but still getting what we need done. So we have to be open around that. But then we also have to, what works for us is we are aligned on where we're going and how we want to get there. And then the other piece is being open around where our strengths are. We don't focus on what we're not good at. It's more like we do let each other know what's the stuff that's a bit mundane that you still need to get it done, right? If you're running a business, how we make time for that. And then I think the other piece would be how we share in the high, like how the highs get shared as well. We probably over-index on making sure we celebrate that stuff because we're so busy that you've got to celebrate the wins because who knows what's going to be happening the next week or the week after.
How about the lows? How do you navigate the lows?
I think when you have a low as a business owner, as a founder, there's no space to hide, right? You can see that low. And so we acknowledge it and typically we also share how we're feeling about it. But then we do kind of go, how do we move into action? Whether that's, I don't know, imperfect experiments or actions to solve it. So we have time to sit with that low, but just the way both Nora and I are, it is always about, well, let's acknowledge that. And then also it's not going to constrain us. And because there's two of us, it typically works out that one of us is going to be more optimistic about the low than the other. And so we will then help each other navigate how to move on from that. as well. And if it turns out that we're both really feeling the low, then that's what we say. Like, that's like, oh God, we're both really feeling that. Why was it so important to us that this thing worked? And that just helps us move through it. We don't ignore it, but also we don't kind of stay with it.
That's probably the only way to run a business. Thank you so much, Ellen, for
Thank
today.
you, Christine.
I'm grateful to have you here. And
It's been fun.
it doesn't feel like a podcast. It feels like just having a chat with you about what's going on in your life and what does running a business mean to you and what has caused your relationship. How does that intertwine with your ambition? And today you have given nothing less than sharing who you are with us. Thank you so much, Ellen.
Thank you, Christine. It's been really, really fun. And I think it's a great space that you're focused on and a space that kind of needs the lid taken off a bit more. I'm so glad that you're doing it with this podcast. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If this conversation resonates with you, I'd love you to share it with someone who is navigating the same tension, someone who is building something big and wondering how to stay close to the people they love and care. All the links and resources we talked about are in the show notes. New episode drops every 2 weeks. And if you want to stay connected between episodes, follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. I share stories, insights, and reflections on social health and relationships to help you build stronger connections. Until next time, I will see you in the space between us.